Hello, welcome back to another pen talk. Thank you very much for enjoying my exploration of the wide world of pens. And you see one example rotating in front of you being held up by a very happy crab. Yes, it's a Hongdian N25. It's the year of the snake pen. So we're going to explore this pen a little bit, talk about it, show you all the little bits and pieces and details, and see if it's a pen you might like. The crab's going to give you a wink, and we're going to dive in. And the pen came in this nice metal case. Many Hongdians do. This is where the wrench for the piston was, and of course this was in a nice cellophane sleeve. Very protected, very nice, and allows you to send the pen to another pen aficionado if you desire to do that. The pen has a lot of metal in it, so it feels pretty substantial in the hand. It'll give you those weights. And yes, it's a piston filler, so you turn this knob this way to withdraw, push the piston down, and then you put the nib in ink and up to the section. And then you turn it this way to pull up that piston and hopefully pull up some ink. It works pretty well. Interesting snake there at the top. Hopefully you can appreciate the detail. Usable clip. And you might see some pattern underneath of this translucent blue plastic. Yes, it's carved in there. We'll take a look at that with under some different light, so hopefully you'll get to appreciate it even more. Just a plain little bullet nose there with some engraving on it. There's a whole bunch of engraving in a lot of places. Hongdian appears to be getting to be known for that. No boring bits. The cap comes off in a little bit over one turn, which is great. They've been pretty good now at doing that. And we see a nice nib detailed with a snake, and it's two-tone, and that's really nice. Section is a little bit textured, and it feels good in the hand. Not slippery at all, not even close. It's a good sized pen. It fits well in your hand as it is. And the cap does almost post, but not really. Falls right off. Not designed for that. And the cap is fairly heavy, as we gave you the weights. We'll give you the dimensions of that section. It feels good in my hand. It's the right size. Just a slight flare out at the bottom. The threads aren't sharp. There's no real step up, so you can kind of hold it anywhere you want for those that like to move your fingers around. This seems to work a little bit better. Interesting that they made that subtle design that you need to just catch the light right. Looks like a curled snake. At least that's my theory. You can see it there pretty good. Curls around, swirls around. Looks like some design work there. Interesting. And of course the cap band tells you the brand and the model. They're always good at doing that. And of course the snake at the top of the cap is definitely interesting, but I find that rhodium plating kind of dissolves the detail because of how shiny it is. Here's the clip, and it's of course a nice springy functional clip. So let's take a look inside the cap. We'll see a plastic liner with that metal bit at the top, which is probably what connects that snake design. There's a small ledge which lines up to where that section would end up. And if you try to blow air in here, which is a good test, it seems to hold air, which means it should keep that nib wet. To me, the obvious comparison is the N25, which was the year of the dragon pen last year, versus the year of the snake, 2025. Personally, I find this look to be more pleasant to my eyes. I like the matte finish here. I like that golden color over the rhodium silvery color. The only problem with this is that cap does crack. There's a very small crack here. Doesn't change the function of the pen, and you really need to look for it, but it's there. I don't know whether they ever solved the cracking of the cap. If any of you out there have one that survived, and let us know. But again, those are the two pens. And like I said, I enjoyed that dragon detail, the 3D look. I mean, obviously there's 3D look here with the snake, but you know, you decide on what type of color you like and how the detail comes across in these two pens. There's not much to disassemble on the pen. It's nice that Hongdian included this wrench to remove that piston assembly if you want. You just put the wrench in there. I have that cap all the way unscrewed, which means the piston's all the way down. And in there is a little, there we see it, there's one on the other side, and that's where that wrench fits in. Turn it counterclockwise to remove the piston. I always try to see how the nib assembly is put in. So in case you didn't want to use the piston, you could use a syringe to fill from this end once you removed the nib assembly. So there's a nice O-ring down there at the bottom, which I like. Threads. You know, when I put this back in, I'm going to put a little silicone grease here and a little silicone grease there. Doesn't hurt. And here's that nice snake nib two-tone. Hongdian's been pretty good now at coming up with some interesting designs on their nibs to match up to the theme of the pen. So that's it for the disassembly for your educational enlightenment. So here are the three pens we're going to compare the N25 to, just to give you an idea of the size. It's certainly plenty long as the Lamy. And then you got your Pilot Metropolitan here, which is, I would call a small pen. I would call this a large medium, and this is kind of a large size too. We're going to uncap them, look at them that way, and also look at the nib where the Hongdian shines. So here are the pens uncapped, and Hongdian holds its own very well lengthwise, as we've seen how it fits in the hand. But the real star of this trio is the nib on the N25. Looks good, number 6 size, two-tone snake design to fit into the design of the rest of the pen. Of course, your small Metropolitan, approximately number 5, and your diminutive Lamy nib. But as we all know, it's not size that matters, it's how the nib functions. So occasionally an ink calls out to me, and this one did. Golden Lapis, ink of the year last year in 24. And as you can see on the paper towel, it's definitely a glitter ink. A nice blue. I like the blue color. I haven't used it in a lot of pens. Somehow these Edelstein inks just have never turned me on that much. You can see that glitter underneath. It settles out, which it will do in the converter when you use it. Always good to shake up things before you write or before you fill your pen when you're using glitter inks. I really like this nib. Hongdian's done a good job with a lot of their number 6 nibs. This one is a little soft. You can put a little pressure on and open up those tines and get more ink flow. This ink certainly has a lot of glitter in it, but the nib just glides very well. Perfect amount of a little bit of feedback that I like. And this Edelstein ink seems to work good in it. This is the first writing that I did that didn't have the camera on record, so I missed it. I just think the glitter in this ink is just outrageous. It's a good color. This is the first writing. And when I did the second writing, which you've already heard me talk about, there's not as much. Apparently some had settled down at the bottom of that converter, came out when I first wrote with it, and this is now down to a more normal amount of glitter. So here's some year of the pens. Your snake, your dragon, your rabbit. Nice rabbit there. Really 3 different designs to commemorate the year of. Impressed with Hongdian. I've been impressed with Hongdian, as I've said many times in the past. So today is May 3rd of 2025, day 2 of the elimination of the de minimis exemptions. So all the packages from China now get a fairly substantial tariff applied. Haven't seen any changes in pricing. Here's some Hongdian pens on Amazon. When I checked the N25, even before the change in tariffs, it was more expensive on eBay. Sometimes that happens. That's why it always pays to check the 3 platforms, eBay, Etsy, and Amazon, deciding where you want to buy. Many times Amazon will give you prime quick delivery, which means that the item is already in the United States and has avoided tariffs if it arrived before May 2nd. And in response to this, Temu has stopped shipping to the U.S. There's a news clipping that I got today. So it's a changing world, as we all know. Hopefully we can all enjoy the pens that we do have, and maybe not pine so much for the pens that we don't have. I have no pens in the pipeline right now. You saw the C80 that Asvine sent me to show you. And when they're available for sale, we'll do a full in-depth review. So I hope this video found everyone safe, healthy, and happy. Enjoying your pens, enjoying your life, enjoying the moment, whatever that moment might be. So thank you all for watching. We've reached the end, and we will say bye-bye-bye-bye. Who knows what's next? Oh yeah, an Asvine V126 and some other pens.